Derwin's here, working today on sitting stance and middle punch. We're going to take this this most basic technique and a very, very simple level work on it and turn this into a fairly complicated movement, very complicated coordinated movement. So if you don't get this down today, it's okay. I didn't get it down the first time I practiced it either. All right. So first things first, let's look at the stance. The sitting stance is a little bit wider than the shoulders. When you bend down into your sitting stance, the knees are above the feet. In other words, I'd be too wide in the sitting stance here. Notice my knees are here and my feet are out here. So I want to bring my feet in. All right. So all 10 toes are pointed straight forward. And as I bend down in my sitting stance, notice how the knees are going out like this. And this is helping push down on the ground. Create way more down here than I would up here, or even pushing out on the ground like that. I want to push down on the ground to create more body weight, so my techniques are much more powerful. Okay, so that's the sitting stance. Now, what the hands are doing in the punch is this. Let's just kind of start at a real basic level. Bring your four fingers together, roll once, roll twice. Thumbs under the first two knuckles, since that's the striking surface right there. We want to reinforce that. So let's just start by having both hands back on the very bottom ribs, the floating ribs, and then reach out and twist the hands over. Pull back and twist the hands over. Reach out, twist over, pull back and twist over. We want to make sure it's very sharp at the end. Twist at the end, and twist at the end, and twist at the end. Now, it's not exactly how we do the punches in class, but it's a good way to start to practice the motion. So now we'll go one hand out, the other hand back on the side, and just practice one at a time. So we have a real basic fulcrum action here. One is pulling back, the other one is going out. So again, fingers are up on the punching hand till the last second, and then there's a twist at the very last second of the punch. But the idea of the punch is, if I pull back at 50 miles an hour, the other hand is going to go out at 50 miles an hour. If I pull back at 30, it pulls back at 30. The way that would happen in self-defense would be from here, as I punch with one, I'm pulling the other hand back to my side. But if I did this in self-defense, if the punch didn't work, I'd get hit. All right. So this is the exercise of it. All right. So again, sitting stance, one hand on the side, other hand out, and push-pull, and push-pull, and push-pull. And as we start going faster and faster, you have to relax more. And to relax more, we need to breathe. And that's where you hear the breathing, and then the tightening of the breath at the end. And the breath tightens at the end of all of our techniques. That's when we're going full speed, of course. All right. So as one hand pulls back, the other hand goes out. Remember the twist at the last second. Please remember to keep the elbows in as we practice this very basic motion. All right. Now, I want you to add this where you are now going to bend at the same time you are punching. So at the bottom of the punch, at the bottom of the stance, that's when the twist rolls over. So we want to time this bottom of the stance with the punch ending. So we're dropping and punching, dropping and punching, dropping and punching. And as we start focusing on the stance, again, don't allow the elbows to flare out. Keep the elbows in as we're dropping and making the sitting stance and middle punch. All right, so again, very basic motion to add in the drop and the punch. Okay, so let's make it a little bit more difficult now. All right, now we're going to have a forward, back, forward motion with the hands. So from here, you'll feel some tension in the shoulders and even some tension in this front arm. And any tension slows us down. All right, so even though, yes, we will start here, before we throw the punch, we're going to go to here. We're going to let the hand that's on your side just relax. And letting that arm and that shoulder relax, the hand has to come off the side just a little bit. All right? So the other hand is going to come in just a little bit. So this is our balanced position, sometimes called neutral. And then from there, we're going to go back to where we were, staying relaxed, and make the punch. So this is where we get the forward, back, forward motion. The punching hand comes forward to relax. Then the punching hand pulls back to the side, and then we make the punch from there. So you see the punching hand going forward, back, forward, forward, back, forward, forward, back, forward. But as the punching hand is going forward, back, forward, you'll notice the front hand pulling in, reaching out, and pulling back. So forward, back, forward, matched by the backward, forward, backwards motion of the other hand. All right? So I would suggest practicing one hand at a time. Forward, back, forward, forward, back, forward, forward, back, forward, and then the other side, forward, back, forward. Relax, pull it back and make the punch. Again, don't relax out here too far. Just let the hand come off to the side, shoulders relaxed. And try to keep that relaxed feeling as you pull back and make the forward motion with the punch. All right? Now, last thing, get some reps on that forward, back, forward thing first. All right, then, last thing is to add in the stance going down, up, down, while the hands are going forward, back, forward. So 3 motions with the hands, 3 motions with the stance. So the stance is going to go down, up, down. Down, up, down. Practice with it. Down, up, down. Down, up, down. As the hands are coming from the body in that relaxed position, that's where I'm dropping down. Then as I stand up, I'm going to get my hands into a position to punch, and then I drop to make the punch. So notice the stance having the down, up, down, as the hands are going forward, back, forward. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Last thing about this punch is as this hand is pulling back to make the punch, it does not stop and go. As the hand pulls back, there's a little circle, just a very, very, very subtle circular motion. If I pull back and stop, I'm not getting any momentum from the punch I'm starting at, so we may as well just start from there. All right, so as I pull back, it's relaxed, subtle circle as that goes forward. Just as you circle the hand, you cannot let the shoulder come up. And I see that a lot. As that hand circles, the shoulder comes up like that. And that's a mistake. That is tightening the muscles up again. We want to keep everything relaxed. So again, we have the sitting stance. We have the forward, back, forward motion with the hands, while the stance is doing the down, up, down. And we'll practice with 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Relax, pull back and go. Relax, pull back and go. All right, so there is your forward, back, forward motion and the down, up, down motion with the stance. Last thing we want to think about is a jerk from the hip, from the core, to get a little bit more hip and upper body into the punch. Taekwondo doesn't do a big twist. It's very subtle, but you see as I'm doing these motions how my front shoulder is slightly in front of the back shoulder, and the front hip is slightly in front of the back hip. And then there's a jerk or a big twisting motion there. Not a big twisting motion, just a very fast twisting motion, but there's not a lot of range of motion in that. So that is that core, adding that body twist into the punch, which will really bring a lot of power as well. All right, so a lot to work on. So practice, 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 and I will see you in class.